Hey everyone, thanks for clicking on today's video. I'm Fletcher. This is the Fletcher Wolf Racing channel. A little bit different today, not in the shop. We are in Mooresville, North Carolina at Pro System Brakes. Today we're going to take a look at the science and technology behind modern race car braking systems. We're here in the shop at Pro Systems. We're going to take a look at what they do, the customer base they serve. Let's go take a look at some parts. So here you've got a wall of calipers, right? And I see that they're Alcons. So can you tell me a little bit about what you do from a caliper standpoint?
Basically, we have a partnership with Alcon. They come on board with us roughly 7-8 years ago. And so we are Alcon North America on top of Pro Systems. We all share the same building, and of course their inventory's here. This takes care of some of the sports car inventory for the GT cars. It takes care of our NASCAR inventory. The sports car market as far as SCCA and things like that, they're done here. The late model side of stuff, Trans Am, TA2, the big TA cars, all that's done here. So we use the Alcon calipers on that. We're starting to branch out where we're going to be making our own Pro System calipers, and with some of the help from Alcon on design and doing that together. So that's a more of a domestic made caliper, but the Alcon stuff definitely comes straight out of the UK. We're big partners together with each other on this, and this is our North America warehouse for it.
So through your caliper department, you serve sports car racing, stock car racing, circle track, road racing, off-road.
Yep. Just about anything that races in North America, and what we're not racing yet we'll be growing into. The part of getting into more dirt late model, midgets, sprint cars, doing a lot of drift cars. We're getting ready to get into that, but we do a lot of time attack stuff right now with some really good time attack guys using Alcon products with Pro System rotors and kits like that.
Yeah, so behind me looks like we got a wall of brake pads.
We are definitely we are study of brake pads. There is a big science behind brake pads, and just having a pad or choosing the right pads very important. Our pad companies are, of course, Project Mu and Paget. Those are the two companies that we work with. It's hard to keep them all, but and there's a lot of good ones out there, but these two companies we feel like are very good for the variety of the cars that we do brake systems on.
So when you look at like a brake pad compound, how would somebody get started looking at the compound options that they might have, or where would you start with that?
Compounds are built to do a certain job on a car. So for instance, a stock car that would run Martinsville, the brake temperatures are very high there, so a pad needs to take the heat and still stop, without fading. A pad like that doesn't necessarily work good at colder temperatures. Not every car is the same. Not every track's the same.
Yeah.
So tune into that aspect to make it right. You have to have different compounds.
You've got a bunch of different rotors here, and each one fits a specific application, and each one is pre-bedded. Is that right?
Every rotor we build gets bedded on the dyno before we ship it out, and that way when it hits the track, it's ready to go. It's ready to race. If you had to put one of our rotors on first thing Sunday morning before an event, the first lap of the event, you can hammer it on.
So when you pre-bed it basically means it's race ready.
Yeah. So the friction layer that the brake pad puts on it on the bed machine, it allows for the friction of the pad to get bedded into the disc. The raw cast iron doesn't really make good friction until the materials of the pad get bedded into the rotor. A bedded rotor is better than a green rotor, so why don't we sell you a rotor already pre-bedded, and it makes it the best it can right off the bat.
Right. Well, and then track time's expensive, right?
Track time is way expensive.
Yeah.
It's hard to bed. It's hard for a driver to really get bedded right on the racetrack. With what we have with the dyno is it's all computer orientated. So every rotor of that size, of that shape, of that part number, the left front and the right front are bedded exactly the same on the dyno by computer. So they both come in at the same time. They both look the same. They both are ready, and the pads are also done with them too. So.
So you work in the service department here. You guys do Alcon or any other caliper and any brake system.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
So if somebody needs service on their brakes, you're the guy to talk to.
Yep, I do the rebuilds and cleaning and tearing apart, putting together.
So what are these, if you don't mind me asking? Those are pretty unique looking.
These are Hurst Airhearts.
Wow.
Your dad would know about them, but you guys
Yeah,
wouldn't.
no, I don't.
You remember that? Yeah. Early NASCAR, this was some of their stuff. Early IndyCar, and I don't know a lot of if the company still exists or not, but I know they had a lot of aircraft stuff that they did.
Yeah.
But anyhow, this is some vintage stuff left over that somebody's doing a vintage car, so this got brought in here for us to go through and rebuild. These are our TA2 calipers that we build in-house here. So this is actually a Pro System caliper. So this is a really good caliper for TA2 racing. It's homologated for TA2. And this is all done here.
And so that would be a caliper that you could put on any kind of...
Anything that fits in a 15-inch wheel really good.
So any kind of road race, late model road race or that
Very
kind
good
of application.
Very good for road racing. Yep. It's done well in the TA2 market. Yep.
So this is a raw casting. Pro Systems takes it from a raw casting and turns it into a race-ready product.
Yeah, we have a proprietary blend of cast iron made at a foundry that does racing rotors for us. And the start of us being able to make a rotor is to have a casting. So this is our Pro System casting. We have a vane design that we made. We call it a tubular vane, but the vane kind of has a D shape that kind of rotates down as a curved vane. And but that's the beginning of what we start to make a rotor with.
So these are blanks for brake hats. Similar kind of thing as the rotors that we looked at. This is what it starts at before it becomes a brake hat that goes on your race car. These are brake hats. We saw the raw material for making brake hats in the other room. A lot of different cars need different brake hats, so you got a lot of different part numbers there.
This turns the thickness.
Okay.
And cuts the diameter. So then it leaves it looking like this.
And with the grooving tool does the inside of all the veins. We do the outside veins.
This is a multi-machine. We do a lot of just lathe work on it, but they're able to make pistons. So these are pistons for the new late model caliper.
Cool. So what you're looking at is a finished product off the machine that's ready for bedding and then ready for racetrack use. What you see here is the plates for different rotors, so each rotor has its own plate so that it can be used on the dyno.
Our business rolls around pre-bedding rotors for GT cars, NASCAR, different types of applications. Plus, we can match bed, like for instance, before the Daytona race last week, we had some match bedding teams that, for them to put the brake system on in the middle of the race, when they did their rotor pad change out, everything was pre-bedded here, so when they went right back on the track, the driver didn't have to bed. It was just instant brakes and everything works good that way.
I'm here with Ben at Pro Systems. He's the lead engineer. Can you just tell me a little bit about what you do here at Pro Systems?
Do a bit of everything, but obviously I'm the design engineer, head of engineering here. The majority of what my day-to-day jobs kind of institute in designing parts, a lot of manufacturing support, tooling support throughout the machine shop. Kind of the broad scope of some of the parts we design, anything from aluminum hats, titanium hats, cast iron rotors, steel parts for pedals. So kind of our material selection is a very wide range of different ones that we can choose from, but the design limitation of what we'll come up with is pretty open-ended in the automotive industry and braking parts.
Thanks for watching today from the Fletcher Wolf Racing channel at Pro System Brakes in Mooresville, North Carolina. Make sure to like and subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, check out our cool racing stuff shorts, drop any questions you've got in the comments, and we'll see you on the next one.